Okay, Veena Sikri, but will that argument hold? If a country wants to give asylum to a deposed leader, they will give asylum to a deposed leader. The fact is, UK did give asylum to someone like a Benazir Bhutto or a Nawaz Sharif as well. So if they can do it for these two, they can certainly do it for Sheikh Hasina.
Well, I think if you come closer to Bangladesh, the former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia, her son, Tariq Rahman, he's been living in UK for the last 15 years. And there are cases against him in Bangladesh. Correct. Which have been run for the last, and there are judgments against him, which including very serious penalties for his role in the Chittagong armed forces and others. And certainly the Bangladesh government has, under Sheikh Hasina, had raised it to the UK government, of course, with no reply. So there is a complete example of double standards here that, the present request by Sheikh Hasina is being regarded very negatively, but others have happily lived there. You mentioned two examples yourself, Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif. And now there is also the example I'm quoting of Tariq Rahman, who is, of course, now longing to come back to Bangladesh now that the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is no longer there. So I think that in addition, I think as far as her staying in India is concerned, this is perfectly all right. I do not see any kind of an impact in that sense on future relations with Bangladesh because, India takes decisions on its own. It's not going to look over its shoulder at other nations or what they are going to say and how it's going to impact them. But I think, the visual that you are showing of the virulent attacks on Sheikh Mujib's statues and portraits, I don't think this is a question of venting anger against Sheikh Hasina. This is a question of an attack on the values of the liberation war that Bangladesh has held dear for the last 52 years. These are not students who are doing this. These are members of the Jamaat-e-Islami. The students' quota reform movement came to an end, I would think, virtually on the 21st of July when the Supreme Court accepted the appeal by Sheikh Hasina government. Actually, Sheikh Hasina's government and the students were on the same page all along. There was no clash between the two. So that it was Sheikh Hasina who abolished the quotas in 2018. And when the High Court reinstated, she went to Supreme Court. So I'm saying that actually the question is somewhere else. The group that's coming into power, we are seeing a slight tussle now between Dr. Mohammed Yunus as being the chief and the Jamaat-e-Islami group that also wants to be the chief of the interim government. We are seeing a tussle at whether Tariq Rahman will be allowed to come back to Bangladesh or will the Jamaat-e-Islami prefer to keep him out of Bangladesh because coming back then there would be similar priorities between the two.
Give me a moment here. I just quickly want to go to Salim Samad, who's a senior journalist who is joining us from Bangladesh. I quickly want to get a sense from him about what is happening in Bangladesh right now before I come back to all of you. Salim Samad, first things first, have things quietened a bit on the streets of Dhaka as we speak? Because there were reports that that educational institutes have opened, though attendance was low. Is that something you can confirm for us?
I think you are very right. Number one, the streets are empty since morning. The schools have opened, but of course, yes, you have mentioned that the attendance is very, very low. It seems similar with the government office, the banks have shut down at midday. So I know about some of the issues. Yes, it is true. And the students, the protest movement, they have formed committees in all the district towns to look into the law and order because there is an absence of police. The police has vanished. The police have gone underground because of fear of public lynching, and possibly more than 30 to 40 police were killed by the rioters. And yes, so one of the reasons the police have even gone on abstention from work because they cannot go for a strike. They've already declared to go on abstention. And only 2 hours before, one very senior diplomat from the Indian High Commission called me and mentioned that the embassy, the High Commission in Dhaka is sans. There's no police not guarding the High Commission, not guarding the other embassies, which is all around in that enclave. And of course, the residents are all unsecured. So you can understand the fear that has been in absence of the police. But coming back to there are less violence, less.
Mr. Samad, can I then ask you? Can I then ask you? You're saying that the police has absolutely gone missing. Can I then ask you, given the fact that Sheikh Hasina right now is in India, is in New Delhi. Is there any sense of anger against India on that count on the streets of Bangladesh, or do the students and the Jamaat simply don't care where she is as long as she's gone?
Jamaat is not in the street. That I can ensure. And whoever is talking about Jamaat Islami, they do not know the background of Jamaat Islami and the strength of Bangladesh. They have only 4% vote in the entire Bangladesh of 80 million people. Okay, let's come into the point. Yes, there is an anger of distrust and suspicion against India for the long, long time. And this has happened because of the misrule for the military regime earlier, and of course the other regime. And it also carried on with the Sheikh Hasina, because Sheikh Hasina has always been branded by most of the people here in Bangladesh, even the media, and of course the opposition, I mean the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, that she is pro-Indian.
Okay.
So whatever the conspiracy theories are still very active. They also said that the firing of the students, on the students, which has killed 300 people, 300, not most, almost 60% were students, were killed. And those persons with the rifles were from India. So this is, everybody is believing. And it is very difficult to debunk such rumors. So obviously, when they find the Hindus who are a soft target, they have been attacked. And of course, the Awami League, who are also a soft target because there is no police to guard them, to protect them. So obviously, that has happened. And this is happening for the last couple of decades. So this is nothing new. But this time, it seems it is the anarchy.
So you are telling me
arson has manifold on the last 48 hours.
Okay.